Yeah, there's a couple of cool things today. Not only you mentioned that you get a seed into the next BSL if you get top 4 in this tournament. Also, there's quite a bit of money on the line. The prize pool is, of course, much larger, thanks in part to support from Blizzard. And so, very, very exciting to see who is going to come out on top here. $1,000 is a lot for pretty much any online tournament, but for Brood War tournament and for one that has some of these crazy, insanely good players, obviously that's something to fight for as well. And so I don't know if we should do predictions before we get into our first game, but especially yesterday's games, I had no idea how to predict who was going to win. Maybe there's like a favorite, but like predicting a winner is so hard when the players are all this good.
Yeah, exactly. The players are very good. I think any of the top 8 can go all the way. If we're gonna pick favorites, I don't think you can not pick kogeT. He got second last season. He's amazing, but at the same time, I talked about TerrOr already. He's dangerous. You gotta be scared of what he can pull out. And Bonneth, I've seen him play in Habit You a few times. He's amazing. I'll be honest, I don't watch Kenzie play very much, but I've seen him play versus Jae-Yoon, and he was playing Terran versus Zerg, so he can play all the matchups. If you're a random player, you've got to have knowledge of not just 3 matchups. You got to have knowledge of all 9. So that makes him scary because maybe he has a timing that Bonneth isn't aware of. So I still am going to favor Bonneth just because of how dominating Bonneth is. But yeah, you got to watch out for Kenzie too.
Yeah,
definitely. I think I would agree with you there, Nyoken. Just by BSL pedigree, you got to look for that stamp of approval that Zero puts on the player information sheets based on whether or not they've won or placed highly in BSL before. And kogeT and Bonneth have that. Really, really impressive players. So I would favor them, not just, and I think that Zero might also favor them, not just because they're both Polish, but also because they're very good players.
Yeah, definitely, and I think Bonnie might be hungry for victory because, like, I think Dewalt, True Touch, Dandy, Aeon, and kogeT already got like at least top 3 in some of the BSLs, and Bonnie didn't get any top 3. So I think he will want to prove to us that he's definitely capable of going to top 4 in these top 2 tournaments.
I mean, I think everybody should realize that he absolutely is. He's one of the most talented players and really hasn't kind of hit that super, super high peak just because he did kind of take a break a little while ago. But now he's back and he's looking better than ever, so I'm excited to see how far he can go.
Yeah, but before this match, we will start with kogeT versus TerrOr, and these are the maps which players chose to play in their best of 5. So we will start with Aztec, then Bluestorm, Roadkill, Heartbeat, and Sylphid. So maybe Mr. Nyoken can say something about this map. Well, like for example about Aztec, it's like it's good map for TVT. Like on which map should we expect the most intense game over here?
I think probably Bluestorm will be the most intense. It's a 2-player map. You can siege the natural very easily. The proxy ability is insane. You can put barracks almost anywhere. You can even float it into the main. So I think in terms of intensity, you got to look out for Bluestorm. I'm gonna be honest here. These maps, I would veto almost all of them. Aztec.
Oh, dude, what was the other one that we started out with? Caceres?
Yeah, it was that.
I guarantee you that's gonna be vetoed quite a bit. That map is so weird. As a Zerg player, like your third is like so segment. I don't know how you play that, but I've also never seen. When I saw Heartbeat, I thought Zero like made it up in his free time. So that's gonna be a new one for me. But obviously, Aztec, Map Pool, and Bluestorm, Roadkill, and Sylphid have all been pretty heavily played. Roadkill and Sylphid most recently in KSL and ASL. So people should have seen those and players should have played on them. But yeah, man, how did Heartbeat make it in here? I have no idea. I thought you like misspoke and meant Heartbreak Ridge, and then I saw it and I'm like, no, that's a different map. So I guess we'll get a chance to find out.
Yeah, I stopped in the middle of the sentence and I couldn't take Heartbreak Ridge. So yeah, But I think this is a pretty interesting map, especially because of these 4 islands on Heartbeat, which you can use on your advantage. And there is like this small cliff on top of the natural, which also can be used like to put a tank over there, or maybe even dragoon. In TVT, yeah. I think no dragoons.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward the most to Heartbeat, because if we get a spawn like bottom left versus bottom right, whoever takes the bottom islands, there's 2 of them, potentially you can just leave tanks over there and it's overlooking some of the low ground. On top of it, that's going to be instant 3 or 4 base for them, and they might just have a positional advantage over the Terran player. So even though I've never played this map, I'm kind of looking forward to that the most.
Yeah, so let's look at the players' profiles. It's Poland versus Peru, a matchup, and kogeT, as a player who is playing StarCraft from 1998, looks like the definitely the one more experienced than TerrOr, but it's hard to judge anyway.
Yeah, even though he's been playing for quite a long time, like you said, it is hard to judge, because back then, you know, I was playing in 1998. There weren't even replays back then. You had to come up with your own stuff. A VOD was unheard of, especially an FP VOD. Nowadays, people can just go to YouTube, just watch Flash, copy his build directly. So having this additional experience, I don't think is a big factor because of just how much information is readily available to them. But I'm still liking kogeT just because of how well he played last season. Yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the series with TerrOr.
Yeah, so maybe we can go directly to game number 1, because I think everyone can't wait for this match. So, guys, boys and girls, this is the first match of round of 8 between Mr. kogeT and TerrOr, and we are going directly to the game.
Thank you for creating a BSL.
Mr. Vilci, thank you for your $5 donation. I'm really appreciating that.
Okay, so I guess we're in the game. I'm going to let Zero start off with our player introduction, because I don't know exactly which base we started on, because I moved the camera around.
So our first player is on the 12 o'clock position as a blue Terran. This is kogeT.
Okay, and that means that his opponent in the bottom right-hand corner in the orange is TerrOr. And I'm very glad that we have our resident Terran expert Nyokin along with us to help us out with the analysis here, because I'd be a little bit lost on this. Because this is going to be pretty high level as far as non-Korean TVTs go.
Yeah, and I want to point out, TerrOr's already got a fast SCV out. I was already worried that we're going to have an 8 racks right from the get-go, but it is just going to be a supply depot wall at the ramp of Aztec. Originally, when I saw him do this versus me a while ago, I didn't really like it, but it's pretty good. It blocks that choke that makes it difficult for vultures to get up, of course. You got to take the long road around. So I do not think we're going to be seeing any cheese play. Based on this barracks positioning, I think we are probably just going to go into a standard play, and kogeT with the forward racks. You see this racks because if the other Terran player goes for a 14 command center, the barracks is proxied a little bit. You can just rally Marines to their base very quickly, and you can get quite a bit of damage done.
Hey, but every time I see I was just going to say, every time I see a Terran player go for a 14cc, they deserve to have their opponents be going for forward racks or double gateways or whatever it is, because I'm just like, the advantage you get from that is sort of like a haha, I got you kind of advantage, not like an I'm a better player than you are. But it is risky, and if you can hold on to it, then I guess you deserve that.
Yeah, but I think that this wall is only having sense when you are going to the tech behind it, because if you would go for like fast CC and do the wall this way, I think it would be hard for him to hold this against some pressure from kogeT.
Yeah, it's most likely going to be tech. We'll have to see, is it going to be more than one fact? And this is what I'm talking about, TerrOr. He's dangerous because, look, he's got 3 on gas still. I think we're going to see a 2-fact play. It's uncommon here. When kogeT sees this wall, he's probably most likely going to think it's an expansion. So this SCV is getting blocked. he's going to have to take the long way around. This SCV may have gotten there in time originally, but because of this wall delaying it, now he's going to be in the dark. And kogeT, he's just playing standard. It's just going to be one fact. We don't see any more gas really being mined here. He's going to go a command center. I think this will be 2-fact from TerrOr.
I really like the position of the Marines, which are blocking the SCVs from scouting. So if he will deny the scout from kogeT, it will be huge for him. But it's 18 HP.
Yeah, but
he's going to try to block it with an SCV.
Yeah, the thing is this, even though the SCV has gotten in,
no way!
Oh my gosh. The SCV got in, but he can just pull off gas right now and fake him out. But I don't... Oh, he did take 1 off gas. But kogeT might be skeptical about why do you have 2 on gas and why is there no command center when I have my own command center down? So that was a very crucial scout right there.
Wow. I cannot believe that SCV snuck down that ramp. That is so... Like that's something that, like, Flash SCVs do to scout opponents, like when they have their ramps blocked. I remember in an ASL game, Shine had blocked his ramp with a drone, and Flash comes back with like a 1 HP SCV and somehow like glitches it through the drone to scout that he's going for like some one-hatch lurker or all-in or something crazy like that. It's like, it's so unfair. Like, Flash doesn't need help to be that good, but somehow he gets that, and it's because of tiny little things like that scouting information. So you're right, he might not have gotten the total read from all of this, but he is going to be able to have gotten into the base to see everything that's there. And let me see, where is this second factory that we were kind of expecting from TerrOr? He only got the 1 right now.
Yeah, this is kind of weird because look at TerrOr's gas. It's pretty low, but he's only on 1 fact. It's looking like an FD push that you see versus Protoss with siege mode instead of mines. Really interesting here. I thought it was going to be 2-fact. It could have even been a 1 factory, 1 starport. Again, this is Aztec. You know, if we go back to the old school maps, Lost Temple, it has an overlooking ledge. And unfortunately for kogeT, these vultures are just barely going to miss everything.
Yeah. And these are very important mines. Like, you know, your first 6 are really going to kind of change the way the shape of the map looks, especially if your opponent has no idea where they're placed and no ability to detect them. So, I mean, he is going to try to play this aggressively, and obviously vultures are pretty good against the Marines and SCVs leading the charge, but with siege mode just now completing and another tank being rallied in, this is going to be pretty rough, especially like you mentioned with that overlooking ledge.
Yeah, but kogeT is already transferring SCVs to the main base because he's afraid of losing them. Oh, he lost 2 vultures just to kill the SCV.
Oh my god.
He denied bunker production at least, but I thought that this investment into the Marines, because TerrOr invested like 400 minerals into the Marines, will be a mistake, but it looks like thanks to these Marines, he's having advantage.
Oh wow. I was worried he was going to mine drag into the SCVs, Maynarding back to the base. I'm just like, ooh, that would have been rough. But as is, you know, he's forcing a lift to float, and he's going to deal a lot of damage to this Expo. He's denied the Expo, and he's going to be, I guess, theoretically working on one of his own. Not up yet, but it will be pretty soon.
And there will be cliffs, so siege tanks on cliff. Oh, but kogeT is moving already with the SCVs. Oh, but it will be hard for him.
That tank is so important because he just has almost pure vultures here. The splits are very nice. kogeT might barely hold here. SCV so strong in the beginning. Remember, they got 60 HP. Kind of a miss micro there. 1 tank goes down. This other tank might go down. Wow, kogeT, I think, is going to secure his expansion. I thought he was in almost an unwinnable position here, but now he's gotten it back. And look at the supplies. He's up 10 supplies somehow.
I don't know how it's possible. He's having more SCVs probably.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the count, he's had a natural expansion running for longer. There's this dumb barracks place when he dropped it in the mineral line just to be a jerk about it. And now he's going to have to put a lot of effort into killing this off back at home, forcing a lift. Not too difficult to do, but just every little bit goes into kogeT's advantage now. He holds on immaculately back at home. And that's so hard to do when your opponent has tanks on high ground, because Aztec's another one of those low ground main maps. You get tanks on high ground outside your main, like that's so hard to break out of. But TerrOr had unsieged, and so he was able to just run all of his SCVs up the ramp with his tanks and bust out like that. Really impressive retake of that natural.
I think the reason why TerrOr is having less supplies might be that he's going to for 2 port raids already. So maybe he's investing a lot of money into that, and What do you think, Nayoken? It's like really good opening to go 2-port right. It's like good counter for what kogeT is doing.
Here's the thing, I'm not really a fan of 2-port Wraith, but TerrOr got this great position on the ledge, and we saw what kogeT was doing. He's going 2-fact Vulture. When you're in a position like that, it's near impossible to break out. So I think he thought kogeT was going to put down a starport and start building Wraiths. That's really the only way he could potentially bust a tank Marine line, is maybe get vision with a Wraith, get a couple pot shots on the tank, and hope that his siege hits. So this could be just a direct counter, because TerrOr knows that there's likely a starport here, and if he's going 2-port Wraith versus 1-port, that's going to be a massive advantage. On top of it,
we are having a drop into the main base. Oh, 4 Vultures.
Yeah, but see, this is what I'm talking about. There's 3 Wraiths out, and kogeT didn't expect this at all, but there's a full SCV pull. That's a lot of SCVs lost here.
Yeah, a lot of lost mining time there as well. Now there's mines in the mineral line. Keep in mind there's still no scan for TerrOr, because he of course does not have that academy up, and this is just a way more effective drop than I would have expected. Denies mining in the main for so long, kills a bunch of SCVs, completely scouts the tech. Like, I mean, kogeT is just, he has all the information that he needs, and even though that amount of raids is scary, I think every drop is so worth it for kogeT.
Oh yeah, definitely. He killed so many SCVs, denied so much mining time. It's definitely worth it for him, and we are already seeing 15 supply advantage for kogeT. So huge, and he's building. Oh, he's rebuilding the barracks, but already on 4 factories. That's huge macro.
Yeah. Supply advantage is going to be lessened by losing 2 tanks for free that were maybe misrallied way out into the middle of the map towards TerrOr. So those tanks go down, but obviously these 2 Goliaths more powerful than almost any number of raids.
Yeah, Goliath just super good versus Wraith. And kogeT, supply, he's still up 12 somehow. Oh, does TerrOr have a drop on the ledge? I think he does. There's tanks sieging up over there. But kogeT's in a great position. Originally, I thought he was almost dead, and now he's going to have map control. I really like to see him take a 3rd base. He's done crippling damage. On top of it, you got to remember, every Wraith you build is equal to a tank, so he's going to have tank advantage also. Oh, there's a Wraith going down for kogeT.
Now, even with the scan, he's going to escape just barely over that ledge outside of range of the Goliaths, who do not have their Charon boosters yet for that +3 range. So they finish up just a couple of seconds. But we're starting to see players think about, okay, well, we've got to maybe go beyond 2 bases. The 3rd is a little bit vulnerable at the front, especially if you do have to face off against a tank push after that. But we're really kicking into this macro mode as players add on like 3rd factories and start to really pick up that tank production.
Yeah, we've got 5-fact for kogeT. I think this is 5-fact for TerrOr. And I don't see TerrOr positioning any of his SCVs over to the left side to take a 3rd base. I think he might be committing to a big attack here, but meanwhile, kogeT is taking the 3rd base on Aztec, and it's the low ground base, which has the gas, unlike the mineral only on the right side. And I'm loving the play from kogeT. On top of it, he's setting a siege contain on the low ground, which means TerrOr is never going to be able to get out.
Oh, but we are having a huge battle. 5 tanks against 4, but all the rights are going down. Oh, what are these 2 actions?
He still has 1 left, but that turret's about to finish, so even that Wraith doesn't have enough energy to cloak. So it's going to be annoying. It's going to maybe force an unsiege here on maybe one of the tanks. Yeah, just to reposition them closer to that turret. But yeah, very, very strong push, and with an Expo behind it, this is really going to have to be a big bust out for TerrOr. But he just doesn't have anything. I mean, he's got a bunch of factories to build units with. He just doesn't have those units.
Yeah, and now kogeT's doing basically exactly what he should be doing. Just camp this 3rd base with the gas. So important in Terran versus Terran. You do not want mineral-only bases. And I think TerrOr's going to be forced to kind of all in here. Really, I think the only way he can come back is, remember, he's got double starport. He can pump out dropships pretty fast. If he can do a Doom drop, potentially, and catch kogeT off guard, because kogeT, look at him. He's just rallying across the map constantly. Maybe a big Doom drop onto the natural could get TerrOr back into this game.
Yeah, kogeT is not overextending, because he understands that if he will make 1 mistake and go under the siege fire, he might lose this huge force. And now he's like positioning himself, he's zoning out the TerrOr, and he's even having SCV to take 4th base, so he's feeling control in this game.
Yeah, now we did get a quick glimpse of one dropship moving out on the left side for TerrOr, but he needs more than that. He needs to do something other than just a little bit of harassment. He needs to, like, he's got to go for a doom drop because you're not going to bust out of these tanks. kogeT has had the tank advantage the whole time. He's going to have third gas kicking in. They're just going to keep accumulating, and it's going to be very difficult for TerrOr to do anything. Like, he has no real exit outside of his base.
Yeah. And here's a drop coming in right now from TerrOr, but it's going to be scouted by this fourth base. Maybe that's what it was designed to cancel. So hey, mission accomplished there. But you got to deal some damage eventually, and TerrOr just doesn't have really anything to do that with. He rebuilt 3 Rays, but any number of Goliaths will push that back because there's a ton of scans out there. These 2 tanks will be good as long as there aren't 2 tanks to defend against it. And in fact, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, and most of the army there for kogeT. So he's super safe back at home. He's got a ton of production, up to 5 factories, I believe, and tons of economy as well to pump units off of that. Whereas back home, there is a third base about to finish for TerrOr, but it is mineral only, like you mentioned, Nyokin.
Yeah, and really, he's only just going to be able to build a lot of vultures, and that's not what you want. And I want to point out that kogeT, remember, he's had that armory for a while. He might be getting +2 pretty soon, and once he gets +2, those tanks will start two-shotting the other tanks. And when you're in a position like kogeT is in, like, he's just going to be so cost efficient, it's unheard of. And there's the mass drops I was talking about. Really, I think this is TerrOr's only exit here. Maybe if he doesn't go for a drop into kogeT's main, it is Aztec. Maybe he can secure the other main and then we go split map scenario.
Oh, but this target might scout the drop. Oh, it would be so lucky for kogeT to do it this way.
Yeah, I didn't see where that scan was, but yeah, he's going to scout it with this turret on the left-hand side of the map. The Rays fly just barely within. Oh, but the Rays get scouted, so it signals him to move the dropships out of vision.
Yeah, and I guess TerrOr is going for a big drop to the left side. He, I guess, is probably going to shut down this top left base. And, I mean, he's still behind, but he is taking, I think he's going to take bottom left pretty soon. He's got an SCV over there. But kogeT, he's ready. He's already got units positioned over there, but that is a lot of tanks and vultures and Goliaths in those dropships.
Yeah, but I mean, they were scouted, the army repositioning, the army movement from kogeT just almost immediate. As soon as he gets some piece of scouting information, he repositions his army immediately to stop that. And really, he's got missile turrets, and well, I guess he only has 1 on the right-hand side, so maybe that's a little bit vulnerable. Oh, it's actually expanding to this 3 o'clock map.
TerrOr unloaded in the middle of the map. Okay, I thought he was going to do a flank, but now he's going to try and siege contain this low ground base. But I don't know about this because he only has 2 tanks here, really.
Oh, but it should be the pretty cost-efficient trade for TerrOr.
Yeah, it's cost-efficient, but the thing is he can't reinforce anymore. Well, he's trading really well, but it's going to get cleaned up.
By the way, thank you, Mr. Dandy, for your host.
This is about the entirety of this army. These are just a bunch of random empty dropships running around. And as soon as those die, I mean, he's got a few tanks and vultures and Goliaths back at home. But this is like the defense force. If you try to attack with that, you're not going to have anything left afterwards. And so, you know, TerrOr's trying to get this 4th base up at the 6 or I guess 7 or 8 o'clock location. I don't know if that's really going to be defensible because, I mean, kogeT's pumping off of a 4-base economy, adding on a bunch of factories behind this, and the macro he's going to be able to produce is just way outstripping anything TerrOr could hope for.
Yeah, TerrOr's got a lot of units. He's trying to hook around to the left side. I don't think there's a lot of tanks over there. That might be his way out of this contain. There's a couple unsieged, only 3 tanks sieged up right here, but still kogeT is going to be cost efficient here. But at the same time, remember, if you have vision, you can potentially pick off a few tanks without this siege tank firing back. So kogeT's got to be careful. Now, this is kind of the difficult part for kogeT because look how much he's got to defend. He's got to defend the right side, he's got to defend the middle, he's got to defend the left side. But really, all TerrOr has to do is find one weak point with a very condensed attack, and he can bust out. The army is huge.
He's just got to use it, right? The tanks of siege there for kogeT. He's really, I love that he's like running the SCVs into tank first. So they get up close and personal with the tanks. And look at this A move, huge from TerrOr. Gonna use that amount of units that he had built up behind this to try to break out a deep siege tank line and more forces rallying in. So this is still gonna be rough for TerrOr, but he is moving through, pressing against the tank line, sieging up himself. He is taking a lot of losses, and I mean, kogeT, even if he loses a bunch here, he's still going to be able to re-macro this army faster than TerrOr in the end.
But I think this was a perfect moment for TerrOr to move out, because it was just until the +2 upgrade for weapons for the tanks finished for kogeT, but it was just too much. GG! And 1-0 for Mr. kogeT.
Wow.
That was very impressive. TerrOr's build, I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen an FD versus Terran. That was very interesting, and unfortunately for him, he unsieged his tank. If he had let them siege, those SCVs would have gotten one-shotted immediately. To be honest, if that was me, I would have instant GG'd as soon as I lost my natural. So, oh man, TerrOr, he had a great build order counter. That's what I'm talking about with TerrOr. You don't know what to expect, but unfortunately kogeT, somehow despite all that, he was already up 10 supply. I don't know how he does it.
Well, it's because he's super, super good. And more importantly, I think he had to realize as soon as he... you can't expect your opponent to play perfectly. And so when you recognize that they've not made a mistake, but that you've gotten this opportunity to retake his natural from having those tanks unsieged, it's like, hey, I'm just going to go for this. And he was able to leverage that really, really effectively to not only have that economic advantage, but then to get a faster third base and leverage that economy for, I guess, the rest of the game. And for TerrOr, like, he had about the best opportunity to kind of equalize and bust out a couple of times, but I think at that point kogeT's forces were just a little bit too much. So kogeT wins game number 1, but it's a best of 5, and we got some weird maps coming up, so anything can happen.
Yeah, definitely very weird maps, but the next one will be Bluestorm, so it might mean that we will have even more aggressive game than this one.
Yeah, that's true. Bluestorm, you can proxy anywhere basically. And based on the last game, I really think TerrOr might go for a very similar build. Maybe it will be one fact, one port. We'll have to see. Of course, kogeT can deal with that pretty well. His Wraith control is amazing. So yeah, looking forward to that one for sure.
Yeah, so kogeT leading 1-0. Like, it's hard to judge about, it's hard to say on what level kogeT is, because he was not playing a lot of BSL ladder, because he already had seed after the last season. But like, every time we are watching his games, it's like I'm thinking that it will be even game, and then kogeT is surprising me and showing that he somehow he can do some things betterly, and it's always going his way.
Yeah, it certainly seems to. And another thing that being up 1-0 in a best of 5 allows you is sort of that breathing room. So you don't have as much pressure going into the next game, and you have a lot of maybe risky options that you can go for and say, hey, if I lose, the worst it can do is bring us back to even. So maybe that's something that kogeT has in mind. I don't think he's... If I had to pick which player was maybe a little bit cheesier, I probably would not pick kogeT. So I really just want to see how he decides to play this next game, because it is Bluestorm. You have so many aggressive options. So definitely something that's maybe a little bit more entertaining to watch than 5-hour macro Terran games. We almost had a TVT KSL finals, and you should have seen how sad Artosis' face was when that didn't happen. But I think overall it was still pretty fun to watch regardless. And I think especially when it comes to our third map, Heartbeat, I was looking up some of the information about that afterwards. That actually could be a super long TVT map. So we might just get the full spectrum of possible kinds of TVTs tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And every time we are seeing kogeT playing TVT, and I think SPX also was the guy who was, when he was playing TVT, it was always very entertaining. It wasn't boring. So, and I think this first game, like, it wasn't boring. I didn't wanted to say that TVT is boring, but it was like as interesting and as intense as ZVZ, I think, sometimes.
My favorite part, if I can just kind of break the fifth wall here for a second, is that my camera keeps popping between my camera and Nyoken's camera. It's like I'm in my room and then I hop over to Nyoken's room, and I promise you we're basically 10,000 miles away, but somehow through the magic of technology, I just go right back and forth. It's like I knocked out Nyoken and I snuck into his room. It's like, hey guys, I'm the Nyoken now, and nobody will know the difference there.
Yeah, this is our BSL
fun.
technology, but like, but always we can say that BSL is connecting people from all over the world. Like, in 1 second
Sure
you can
is.
come, you can leave your room in Korea and join your room in North America.
Yeah, BSL teleportation hard at work here. So, yeah, I'm mind controlling Nyoken, just infiltrating his room. But either way, I think I'm glad that we don't cast with caster cams, because that would be a little bit distracting.
Okay, I think we are ready to go to the game number 2. If you are ready, boys and girls,
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
let's go. Game number 2 between kogeT and TerrOr. So starting on the bottom left position as a white Terran, we are having kogeT.
And in the upper right position in the orange is TerrOr. Really cool game one. I felt like those openers were a little bit strange, like Nyoken said, but I don't expect that we'll see the same thing here on Blue Storm. Blue Storm is a map that you have to play specifically to. There are a lot of maps like, you know, your builds on Fighting Spirit might be a little bit similar to your builds on Circuit Breaker. You know, they're big 4-player maps. But when you play on Blue Storm, you really got to play to the map, because like Nyoken said earlier, you can build anything anywhere. You can the rush distance is super short. You never know where the attack is coming from, so information is at a premium, and you really have to be prepared for anything even early on.
Yeah, and I agree with what Rapid said a few minutes ago about how kogeT can pretty much do whatever he wants this game, and at worst, the series will be tied up. I personally think kogeT should go for a cheese here, because kogeT, I don't think he's known to cheese very much, but TerrOr is probably more known. So if you cheese TerrOr here and you win, I think you're kind of forcing TerrOr's hand to play you pretty straight up in the third game, and then maybe kogeT can abuse that. And we already got TerrOr with a hidden Rax. It's not going to be proxy, but at least it will probably throw kogeT off guard. But yeah, I think kogeT, maybe, I was going to say if he should wall here, then float a proxy factory and go 2-port Wraith. That would be pretty cheesy, and I think that would catch TerrOr off guard for sure. But we're not seeing that here.
Yeah, but I think if you want to go something tricky like 2-port Wraith, you should make a wall in, right? Just to not let TerrOr to scout that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think I would have liked it if he walled here and did that, but he's not doing that. So I don't think we're going to see that. And then float a proxy factory where TerrOr's Rax is right now. I would have liked that.
Yeah, there is a huge space over there to use it, so to utilize it, so it might work.
Yeah, I want to find out what the story is behind this hidden barracks location. I mean, the simplest explanation is when he gets scouted, it's going to be harder to find that. I still think kogeT will probably find that because he's pretty vigilant with his scouting, but I'll find out the intentions for those builds in a second. Both players mining gas, but the TerrOr is still going for that 3-on gas and just mining a whole lot of it, whereas kogeT is not. He's pushing away the SCV and not revealing that he only has 1 in his gas geyser.
Yeah, and I think the intention of this...
TerrOr only has 1 as well, so he did take him out.
My camera just went black. Well, I see your cursor. Okay, there we go. I was going to say, I think that this Rax is kind of just TerrOr mind gaming kogeT, because we've been talking about how TerrOr can pull out anything. If you hide the barracks and kogeT scouts you and there's no barracks, all of a sudden he might build a bunker and overreact to, just standard play. And that's exactly, if you can get any early game lead, that's great for you. So I like that play from TerrOr.
Yeah.
And TerrOr, again, we have a lot of gas here. Oh, no, we don't. I take that back. So both players are just going standard command centers. But I want to point out, kogeT's command center is considerably faster than TerrOr's.
Yeah. Just to kind of go off of what you were saying, Nyokin, like sometimes when you scout, you know, information is only useful if you have like the brain to you know, interpret it correctly. And so sometimes a lot of the mind games, a lot of the trickiness that goes on at the highest level is just not something that will be relevant if you're, you know, like a B Protoss player or something like that. Because at that point, you know, you don't really know the ramifications. So a lot of times if a good player is scouted, or a good player scouts his opponent and it thinks that something weird is going on and then reacts to it, but his opponent doesn't actually have anything weird going on, they're just maybe not crisp on their build order timings, it can really throw you off if you don't understand the skill level, and then you being the more experienced player can hurt you a little bit. But in this case, both players are very experienced, and so they are going to be trying to read any little kind of information that they can get, which is maybe not going to help them out very much because they're both going for basically the same opener, although it is speed for TerrOr and mines for kogeT.
Yeah, so I think TerrOr will be able to, like, he will show his speed, his dedication to vultures first, and kogeT, because he went for vultures mine first. I think like he will go for speed after the mines, but he will not reveal to TerrOr that he's going for this vulture build.
kogeT's got to be careful here. These vultures are going to get picked off. Oh, yeah, remember, he's going to have speed, so these vultures are going to die, I'm pretty sure. Luckily for kogeT here is it's Blue Storm, so it takes a little bit longer to rally across the map, but TerrOr already has a tank, and he's setting up into that little valley. He's going to overlook the ledge. The barracks is a little too far to get vision right now. I heard a mine go off. Did it get the tank?
No, it got 2 marines, but it's still a fine mine. For 25 minerals, 2 marines, it's always cost efficient.
Now, this is a little ambitious from TerrOr, going all the way to the high ground ramp. Like I said, it's Blue Storm. You can't rally that quickly. I would have liked it more if he sat in the valley, but I mean, this is going to be similar to Game 1, where he's overlooking the ledge already, but the unit count is pretty low. Is he going to lose his tank?
Oh, he's going
at
for
least
this
one tank is going to go down. He does trade one tank for one. Superior vulture count, but obviously this tank from kogeT is going to allow him a really good chance at kind of hanging on here. kogeT almost having siege mode completed, but with mines already being laid in his base, it's going to be hard to bust in here with his tank to deal with the vultures.
Oh.
Definitely
Yeah,
one
mine
time,
timing.
eat the mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now he's kind of isolated all the tanks. He's just into the SCV line, and I see TerrOr has a bunch of units at his choke. There they go. They're rallying across, and now he's going to start attacking the natural pretty soon. All these SCVs are getting wiped for kogeT.
And
he can't get down there to defend. Like, he's got so many mines in his base. These tanks cannot move. They're paralyzed. So he's going to be relying on just a few vultures to deal with this. He's taking a lot of economic damage, and now with more mines being laid at this choke, it's like, good luck. You're going to take so much damage. He could just kill this tank with a vulture shot here, and he's going to force a full pull from the natural.
And TerrOr is mining from his natural behind it, so this is not a total all-in, he's just well executing his build.
Yeah, and we see 3 add-ons onto all his factories, so these vultures are kind of just crippling the econ for kogeT, and now all of a sudden TerrOr will bust out with a bunch of tanks pretty soon. If he can get 3 tanks into that valley, it's going to be a nightmare for kogeT to deal with. On top of it, TerrOr has enough econ he could start going race right now. TerrOr's gotten a full scout on. He didn't see a single armory. He didn't see the academy even done yet. He could switch into race right now. That would be a great move to counter what kogeT's doing right now.
But supply-wise, it doesn't look like TerrOr is having that big of an advantage. It's 10, of course it's big in mirror matchup, but after seeing how much kogeT lost, it's like this difference is not that big as I thought it will be.
Yeah, the supplies, of course, are not, well, 55 to 43, that's pretty big, but Terran versus Terran, it's not necessarily all about supplies, it's more positioning, and if we look at the map control of TerrOr, he's got mines everywhere, which means kogeT's got to be scared to move any inch across the map, and all this time that TerrOr's buying is just getting that tank count even higher, so when he does eventually siege this natural, how does kogeT break out of it? He's got to go through mines first, and he's got to go through more mines, and then already sieged up tanks. That I think is the barrack still alive for TerrOr? No, I think it got killed. Or is it on top of the command center?
Yeah, I think it's on top
of the command center.
Yeah, so he's even still got vision, and you know, TerrOr could be going race right now, and kogeT doesn't know because he's got to use all his scans to just clear out some mines.
It's actually really impressive to see how much vision kogeT did have out on the map with those mines. Obviously, now that they're starting to be cleared up, or TerrOr, yeah, how much map control TerrOr had on the map with those mines. And I mean, they're starting to be cleared up, but he's still got a lot of vision inside the of his opponent's base. And there's always a chance that when your tanks pop out in the main, they run into a mine and come out with 3 HP essentially. So, man, TerrOr is he's executing very, very well here, because they're his friendly mines. He's gonna have perfect information about when and where and how far to start splitting this map.
But guess what kogeT is doing when he feels like he's behind? 3 starport raids. Like, oh,
okay.
It's his, like, we should give him a badge with rights, because he likes rights in TVT.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if TerrOr has comsat yet. I don't see an add-on at the natural, so he has no clue that's going on. But at the same time, Wraiths are not cheap. They're equal to a tank. If you build Wraiths and they don't get the damage done that you're expecting, you're giving up big positional advantage. TerrOr's going for that split map scenario on Blue Storm, and we could have an hour-long game, potentially. But TerrOr is also going Wraith. But again, like I said, he's going to be caught off guard because he's expecting to probably have map control here, and he's going to see the bad news when there's a bunch of Wraiths popping up. But at the same time, he does have Goliath, and Goliath just obliterate Wraiths.
Yeah, it's not even close. So the critical mass that you have to have of Wraiths to be able to deal with Goliaths is just like 20, I don't know, 2 control groups, something ludicrously high like that. Because Goliaths are just so much more cost effective. They just do a lot more. So we'll see if TerrOr's Goliath production and eventual detection can help him out here. I was actually kind of looking. He doesn't have anything to detect. The only thing he has to detect is like 2 missile turrets, I think. So yeah, getting a 3rd one up right now.
Yeah, TerrOr does have bottom right, though. He's got 3rd base going. That's going to be a big gas advantage for him. He probably will take his 4th base pretty soon, and because he has a map advantage, he could even position tanks there, and this will open up an opportunity for him to start elevatoring drops, potentially. You see kogeT has started shifting his starports on the low ground. He knows that those are pretty vulnerable, especially since he doesn't have map control. But yeah, we are going split scenario. I'm shocked at this because TerrOr had great map control, almost to, 80% of the map.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
now,
with his mines out there's a lot of vision, and maybe he used that to get to this position, but he didn't do anything else with it.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like he's letting this slip away. I mean, I don't want to understate this. TerrOr is in a big advantage right now because he has this 3rd gas for a while, and on top of it, kogeT's committed to race, so that's a big commitment. But he is letting kogeT get back into the game. Really, Terran versus Terran, if you're just trade efficiently on even bases, it doesn't matter how behind you are in the early game. Like, you will win. We see the ultimate battles of battle cruisers with vessels. If you get off a big EMP, that can potentially shift the game completely in your favor.
And this time we are seeing that TerrOr will be the one who will have +1 upgrade first, so probably he will have this crucial +2 upgrade advantage, and kogeT is trying to keep up. He's already starting mining from his top left base, but TerrOr is not like sitting behind it. He's already going for 6 o'clock base, so full map split we are seeing right now.
Yeah, you called it, Nyoka, and you were the one that said, well, we are maybe gonna have a long game here. 6 o'clock being taken by TerrOr here as well.
Yeah, and I see at bottom right we have some buildings being put down there, or in the middle of mid right. So those are probably starports. And I want to point out that TerrOr's factory count is pretty low. It's about 5. Oh wow, I'm pretty shocked that those are not add-ons. If I was kogeT and I saw only 5 factory at this point, I would really think that we're going into the BC late game but those are just going to be raced. But still, I think kogeT is aware now that this is going to be an epic one. Wow, there's the elevator I was
a lot of
talking
SCVs
about.
are dying. Yeah, you know, now you were right, and this is very dangerous. kogeT is not having too many tanks to defend it, cost efficiently at least.
Yeah, and shutting down this gas would be huge because obviously you need as much of that as possible when you're getting into massive amounts of starport production. Even just mech is like very gas intensive. So taking that out because there was a choice to take a mineral-only base here instead of a base with gas really does limit that from 3 gases down to 2. So it's going to be a big drop, big advantage here for TerrOr. Will it be easy to clean up? Looks like, yep, just barely in range, and so kogeT will be able to volley down this and really everything else left there. But still, damage done, it's really annoying, and it really does limit that gas intake.
Yeah, and kogeT dealt with that pretty perfectly. Sure, he has lost mining time there, but he killed all the tanks for free. He didn't lose any of his own tanks. So nice defense from him. If he can get the 4th base going at top middle, he's still in an okay spot. But he does have to leave these tanks here forever because he's got to be worried about an elevator again. But yeah, still nothing has changed. It's not like TerrOr got huge damage here, but he is going into race. But again, like I said, factory count is low. kogeT's got to be suspecting that the BC Wraith Valk vessel transition is happening.
And I think TerrOr will want to counter the battlecruisers with the raids because he's making like raids in the 3 o'clock position, 2 starports and another armory.
Yeah, he's both players are, you know, they're thinking about that late game, but they haven't totally decided to go there yet. No BCs in production yet. They are still trying to cross their I's and dot their T's or whatever they need to do in order to get a strong position, a strong economy, and then use that to kick into high gear for that late game battlecruiser production. In the meantime, yeah, sure, there's a re-upped Wraith count, so he's up to 6 for TerrOr, and I don't think that we actually have any production from these kogeT starports for a while.
Yeah, I don't see anything being produced up there, but TerrOr, I think, is trying to deny top middle. I heard some dropships being loaded up. Yeah, he is sieging the high ground. There's only 1 turret here, so these units are all going to die.
And there's no anti-air.
Yeah,
very nice usage of the raids. Yeah, nicely done.
I want to point out, look at the siege tank line in the middle of the map for TerrOr. It's like, how many is that? Like 20 or 15. But look at kogeT's. There's not that many. So when an air battle happens, he will have the air advantage, I think, just because he has fewer ground units. But kogeT has got to survive to that point.
Starting to see this battle heat up at the 12 o'clock. I think kogeT starts to realize, wait a second, if I can't get that base, then I could really mean a big economic defense or disadvantage later on in the game. So he's going to try to push up here, kind of blocking his pathway with turrets, but just trying to say, hey, you can't have this base. If I can't have this base, you can't have it either. No turrets here to defend the upper left, so these cloaked raids coming in from TerrOr are actually going to do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, that's really impressive.
Yeah, and as you pointed out, kogeT has not been building race, even though he's had those 3 starports. So this base is going to lose a lot of SCVs, and if you're ever turret tank pushing another tank line, that's in general not going to work out well for you. So this 4th base being denied from kogeT. Oh, wow, he's gotten up there somehow. Oh, no, he hasn't. There's the 2 tanks. But, yeah, great denial.
Hero Goliath is working. Oh, he lost, but he lost like 4 raids, so that's a probably good information for kogeT because 3 battlecruisers will just move out right now. And what will he be able to do against this? Because I think like you need to have like this critical number, at least like 8 battlecruisers to engage Goliaths.
Yeah, and there are the first couple battlecruisers. I want to point out, look at TerrOr's supply. We're at 190, but really, where is the supply? We know there's a lot of tanks in the middle, but that's not 190 worth of supply. Where is his actual army? Well, I mean,
he's got a bunch up on the high ground, and there's a ton. Well, I say there's a ton of raids. He actually did lose most of them. I think there's only 6. And I don't know if 6 raids can really deal with 3 battle cruisers, Nyokin. I mean, maybe you know the math on that one, but I'm thinking it's in the BC's favor.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. kogeT has known that this air transition is coming out for TerrOr, and he's already got battle cruisers out. And look at TerrOr, he's maxed out. if he wants to fight the heir of kogeT, he's going to have to trade units. Meanwhile, kogeT, if he just built pure battlecruiser from now on, he would have 10 or 12 battlecruisers versus 6 Wraiths. I can tell you the battlecruisers will smash that easily.
So, what is the optimal composition you want to get to? Because is there a such thing as having too many tanks here? Because
Yeah.
TerrOr's just got a lot.
He's got way too many tanks. If kogeT has +2 right here when he attempts to attack, he's going to trade so cost efficient.
Are you
And here
ready?
He goes.
Ooh, huge attack, and
He's
he
gonna
will break it easily.
Yeah, I think the
Wow.
tank count from TerrOr is just too massive. But remember, we've got battlecruisers out. 3 more will be coming out pretty soon. So we're going to have 6 versus mass tank. Tank doesn't hit air, so TerrOr's got to be scared about this because he's going to lose all his tanks potentially.
Yeah. I'm trying to find, where did kogeT's battlecruisers go? Did I miss those?
Oh, they
They're
are on
coming
12
up.
Okay, here
o'clock.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, there they are. And so finally they're going to kick in here. It's like, congratulations, TerrOr. You broke the tank line, but now you lose everything for free. I mean, it's not for free because he did get value out of them. But yeah, eventually these VCs will clean everything up. And there's just, I don't know how many Goliaths there are out for TerrOr, but I don't think it's enough to deal with 6 battlecruisers.
And where are
and
the
now-
raids? Where are the raids? He had a raid, he was building raids, he lost all of them?
I think
He lost
did
a
lose
few
some-
of them. He still
Yeah.
has a few left over, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, now kogeT knows that probably a lot of the tanks are out of position. He may be able to set up a potential push at the natural. There's actually a skimpy amount of tanks at the bottom middle side for kogeT at that high ground. He could have potentially busted there, but kogeT is content with just going for split map here. He's already got air advantage. Those starports on the mid right, they don't have add-ons, so TerrOr really is committing to Wraith. There's no BC transition.
And I don't know
Yeah,
how it's
I mean-
possible, but TerrOr is not having money at all, and kogeT is floating on 2000 minerals, so... And he was not mining from 12 o'clock, so how is it possible? Like, TerrOr is spending his money so well, or...
Yeah, well, the thing is he's constantly building tanks, whereas kogeT is just building enough tanks to live while building up that battlecruiser count. And I mean, you saw kogeT lost a lot of his tanks there, but TerrOr lost way more. And on top of it, he didn't kill any of the battlecruisers. So they're just going to keep getting, the numbers going to just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't like TerrOr's position now. Sure, it's even bases, but he's just going to trade so inefficient. On top of it, he's making Goliath versus tanks. How does he ever expect to win a fight?
Yeah, obviously Goliaths, they have a lot of range. They're pretty good anti-air, but especially once Yamato starts getting really, really cost-effective. Colossus reactor now on the way to give extra energy to BCs. We're going to start to see like a big change because it'll be about energy rather than about your unit composition. Because it's like, well, everything just dies to Yamato. Well, maybe not in one, but it's going to deal free damage, and it's going to be really important as we see two kind of opposite compositions.
I think TerrOr's going in for it right now. There's no way this can work. kogeT has
Oh,
so
that's
many
not the
tanks
best
with
idea.
battlecruiser support.
Oh, this is a suicide mission.
Oh my god, and he's attacking uphill. Dropships aren't even unloading. So this is gonna be a huge loss for TerrOr here. I haven't seen a single tank go down for kogeT. What?
Oh
TerrOr's
my-
actually pushing through.
I don't know how it's possible, but there was 6 Yamato guns available, but kogeT is not using them.
Yeah,
But still, the
this is
battle
a
cruisers are
strange-
still alive.
These
Yeah,
units
this
are
is
so
the
good.
strangest fight I've ever seen. TerrOr's ground army actually did so well. But he has nothing to kill the battle cruisers, so now he loses, which is a little bit anticlimactic.
I like how we agree that he killed a lot, but look at the supplies, 170 to 110. That's about as good as a fight that TerrOr could ever have expected going uphill, and he lost 100 supply. Oh, that's crazy. And like I said, how does TerrOr come back from this now? He can't catch up. He's lost so many gas-intensive units. He's probably, depleted at gas at the main and natural. That means it's going to take him an eternity to equal the battlecruiser count of kogeT. Meanwhile, all kogeT's doing is building pure tank battlecruiser.
Yeah, it should be noted that the battlecruiser count is now up to, I think, 9, soon to be 11. And that is just quite a few. Is there an optimal number? Because I know raids are still pretty good. What is the perfect late game TBT composition, Ioken?
I don't know, maybe like 12 battlecruisers with enough tanks to not get busted by a lot of Goliaths. If the other player is going like pure Goliath and your tanks get run over, well, then you can die pretty fast. So you kind of have to balance, how many tanks do I need to make sure that scenario doesn't happen? So whatever that amount is, that's what you should get. Of course, mixing in Race, some Valkyries are pretty nice depending on the unit comp from TerrOr. I would like to see maybe even just 1 or 2 Valkyries, because it's likely that TerrOr is going to go mass Wraith here to try and kill the battle cruisers. I don't think kogeT necessarily needs vessels. Usually you would see vessels with
Yamato!
your BCs.
Yamato
Yamato
action!
or something.
Yamato-ing the center, yeah.
Yeah, and now he just kills a couple tanks and leaves. And eventually, TerrOr will break.
Yeah, what's the game plan here? We're up to 11 battle cruisers. If he traps an SCB, he can do battle cruiser micro by stacking. I don't know. It's just so comical. The advantage that kogeT has right now. He's banked 4K minerals and almost 1,000 gas. He's just really on point. There's that lonely 12th battle cruiser kind of flooding up there.
I would like to see kogeT take the high ground on TerrOr's side of the map now. He's got like 5 scans, so he knows there's not much there. He's broken the left side. He can slowly push down to bottom middle. There's 4 Goliaths for defense. His battle cruisers could just straight up kill everything there. That's what I would like kogeT to do, just slowly creep, and then he doesn't even have to attack from there. Just sit there and camp and wait for TerrOr to mine out. But that might be his just goal, sitting where he is right now. Look at these Yamatos. How do you hit him? You can't.
And I think kogeT feels pretty comfortable because he started to mine from his bases pretty late, so he should have more minerals than TerrOr overall in his side of the map.
Yeah, and he's got a bigger gas bank, and this move from kogeT is similar to what I said. Just kill this base at bottom and just sit there. The TerrOr can't mine from it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's still mining from it right now, but that's very risky. We're going to see a bunch of Yamatos go off, and yeah, here it is. One after another. These cloaked rays are cool and everything. And actually, there are no science vessels out that I've seen, which can be kind of a weakness because you're going to have to keep burning scan energy to keep these BCs alive.
Yeah, maybe he does need to get 1 vessel, but TerrOr's got a lot of race. He's got to be careful because he can start almost one-shotting BCs, and like you said, there's no vision, so kogeT has got to be on top of constantly scanning there. But yeah, Wraith versus Battlecruiser when they're even numbers. That's a feels bad situation for you.
Command center!
Yeah, he's mass Yamatoing the command center down. He's going to finish it off. He might actually lose a few BCs here. Let's see. Yeah, he is losing 1, maybe 2 battle cruisers, which is expensive, but now TerrOr can't mine from the 6 o'clock base, and 12 o'clock's going very well for kogeT.
Yeah, and look at the bank. 7K, 2K.
Oh,
Depleted geysers across the board for TerrOr. I think this is just a done game. I can't imagine TerrOr ever coming back from this. If he had equal battle cruisers, it's possible, but when you're spamming out Race and Goliaths, that's near impossible.
He's distance mining from the 6 o'clock right now. That's kind of where we're at in this game. I don't know if there's too much recourse for TerrOr at this point. He's got a bunch of Goliaths with +3/3. The air upgrades are still massively in kogeT's favor, and if he doesn't have enough hashtag value with all these Yamatos coming out, he's repairing his battle cruisers just to make them even more cost effective.
We're having a counter-attack from TerrOr on 12 o'clock. There are no turrets anymore because he killed them, and there are so many raids, and he's denying kogeT from mining, so that's always a good move, and battle cruisers are so slow that it takes some time until they will get over there.
Yeah, that is a nice attack from him. The problem is that the battle cruiser fleet is just huge. Again, I would still like a couple of Valkyries in here because those Wraiths would insta-pop from a couple volleys from a Valkyrie, especially when they're upgraded. But he did kill the base, which is surprising to me because kogeT looked airtight, and now he's even repairing the battle cruisers, so all these hurt ones are going to be full HP again. But at least this is allowing TerrOr to potentially retake bottom middle, or at least send all his SCVs to mine there without being under threat of having them die.
Yeah, I think Terror's going to try to sneak into the bottom half of the map. He's got plus 2/2 on these raids, so they're going to be good, but I don't know.
You can't trade rays for turrets at this point. You're depleted on all the gas.
Oh, there will be
Valkyries.
Valkyries.
Oh my god, they actually
Oh.
did die very quickly. There's a third control group of raids here for Terror. So he actually just has so many raids. And with one battlecruiser popping out at a time, they're going to die really quickly. Terror has found an absolutely incredible hole in kogeT's defenses while these battlecruisers are so far north. But eventually, the fleet, they're coming home. And Terror is not going to be able to fight that heads up.
Oh, there will be a lot of Yamato guns, I'm sure. Oh, he's skipping Yamatos.
Yeah, you can just the Goliaths pop out, and remember these rays took a lot of Valkyries hits, so they're getting 1 or 2 shotted here. That's a lot of rays being lost. And now all Terror has really accomplished is he's brought the battle cruisers to this side of the map, and I feel like he's just gonna move the bottom base pretty soon.
Yeah. I feel like the other kind of hidden benefit is that by killing a bunch of kogeT's units, he freed up supply for 3 more battle cruisers. So it's just gonna get almost worse. Like, oh wow, now I have more room to build stuff that kills everything you have. Okay, here comes the mass vulture run by.
Oh,
This is not a good sign. When you see mass vulture at 30 minutes in the game, you can pretty much be assured that you've won this game. All of them insta-dying almost. Getting 2 tanks, I think.
He did a little bit of damage to that, but I don't think there's any value in doing that. This tank line is not realistically as important as this crazy air battle we have going on. Although I will say it was refreshing to see Terror able to use the mobility of the rays to deal damage instead of just trying to fight these battle cruisers heads up.
Yeah, that was really nice move because like we are always we used to see the Hirgalis in ZVZ, for example, and then now we are having almost always mutants because of their mobility and like mutants are very mobile, and this time kogeT is able to, like, Terror is able to show that raids are also so mobile and you can abuse, like, you can escape from battlecruisers and do a lot of damage, and if only Terror would have some more gas, it would be still possible maybe for him to fight.
Yeah, if he had more gas, for sure, he could come back in this game. It's just... I can't see it. He's just so starved. He's got mass rate where kogeT builds 5 Valks. They're just going to insta-die. There's a couple right there. And kogeT, I'm going to be honest, I'm shocked that we're still long distance mining the bottom. I feel like kogeT would have killed this by now. But it's... I just don't know what Terror can do here. His unit comp...
I will say the remarkable, if you can say that there is any weakness to kogeT, is that he's not really doing anything. Like, he got a badass army and economy, and he's got a huge bank and stuff like that, but you still got to get the job done. And obviously a big pitfall is overextending to try to kill your opponent when you could, get more ahead, as the saying goes. But obviously kogeT's in a better position, but if he waits forever, he won't be there, at the very end.
I would like to see at least that he will utilize the Yamato energies just to collect more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, there's no science vessels. That's free real estate,
Yeah, he should be Yamatoing anything, really. Anything, like a Goliath, a Vulture, a tank, Wraith, doesn't matter. It's just free kills for you. Yamato, 250 damage. One-shots every single one of those. But here goes kogeT. There's nothing here to deny this. I see the race coming in through the bottom, but there's Valks here. You're going to see the fastest killing of race you've ever seen.
I mean, he might need a couple more than just 2 Valks, but I mean, the Valks don't kill the raids, and the battle cruisers will, because these are 3/3. So, I mean, yeah, there's 3 armor on the raids too, but Wraith armor, that's kind of an oxymoron,
Yeah, now the race going back to the top. I guess he's going to try and deny top middle, but there's so many turrets, and even if he kills all these turrets, he's trading race for turrets, and turrets are almost free, so don't know what his plan is. I guess he's going in. He's got to be going in.
He certainly is. He doesn't have all of his raids hotkeyed together.
Ooh, but there are so many turrets.
Oh my god, well...
You don't want to trade your gas this way.
Yeah, exactly. You're trading gas-intensive units for 75 minerals. And a ton of race are dying here.
Oh,
Oh my gosh.
Valkyrie.
Oh, look at these Valkyries. Okay, well, I don't know how all this is gonna go.
It's so enjoying to watch. Like it's really nice view.
Yeah, if I could get like a 1 hour long YouTube video of Valkyries killing mass rays, like I would fall asleep to that.
I think Mr. kogeT is going to take this game. All the race are gone. TerrOr still has a ton of army sitting in the middle of the map. I guess he's decided, well, now he's got to go. But kogeT is now deciding to push with his tanks. Yeah, there's GG.
Wow. kogeT,
Really
after
nice.
this run by from Vultures at the beginning, he was able to get back to this game. That's so impressive.
Yeah, really nice defense from kogeT. When those mines, or those vultures with mines got into the main, I thought, okay, well, it's over. He's wiping the main mineral line. He had vultures coming into the natural. Also, remember that both bases were under siege, and TerrOr had an equal amount of bases, so it was like TerrOr's game to lose. But like I said, that scan that kogeT did into the main Sing 5 fact, he knew that there was going to be an air transition, so really, if he just spams out tanks, builds up the battle cruisers, he could just be flat out more cost efficient than TerrOr.
Yeah, that was one of those slow kind of split map games, and I think I kind of thought it was going to be the other kind of TVT where it's Blue Storm, so you go for some sort of weird proxy or cheesy opener, but no, we actually got like that long 33-minute macro game. I would say that it wasn't really totally even at all points in time, but hey, at least we got to see that TVT ASMR of Wraiths dying to Valkyries.
And it's always nice to see battle closers. I mean, sometimes I'm having like this sentiment for these units. We are not seeing that too much, and it was like when we started playing Brood War at the beginning, like the best army composition you can imagine was like probably 12 carriers or 12 battle closers. It was like there was nothing better than that, and that's good that they are still alive.
It was pretty good. I mean, I like Mass Devourer 2-0, but you know, I don't get to see that either.
Yeah, that's why Sparkle was so good, because we get to see them a little bit at least.
Well, I mean, spoken like a true non-Terran player there, Zero.
Okay, so maybe we can show the game number 3. It will be on the map called Roadkill. So it's like, I think it's a KSL map, right? KSL map.
Yeah, Roadkill, Sylphid, the new maps to the Korean League system. Heartbeat's not a new map to any league system, so if we get to a game 4, then so that's the real sort of impetus that is now on TerrOr. Not to win the series, but to win at least one map so that we can see exactly what on earth you do on a map like Heartbeat.
TVT on Heartbeat might be like the game we saw on Bluestorm might be quick compared to that. It's 4 players map. The split map scenario is so huge that we might see that happening.
It's
Zero.
true. We got kind of lucky that it was split map Blue Storm, where there's really only 5 bases. Imagine if we had split map Circuit Breaker. You know, you would have 8 or 9 base. We could be at the halfway mark if it was on there.
Split map Circuit Breaker is like it's like a Brood War curse word. It's like, I'm gonna wash your mouth out with soap after this cast, Nyoka. Oh man, I just want to remind people it's 4:30 a.m. after Artosis' Christmas party, so you know it's just been quite a long day for me. So if we could keep maybe the 5-hour TVTs to a minimum, you know, I would be okay with that. But obviously, for the good of Brood War, I'm willing to sacrifice. But I'm just saying, there's only so far we can go here. So. I am ready to get into the next game as soon as possible, Zero.
Okay, so if you are ready, it's a Roadkill, kogeT versus TerrOr, and we are joining directly. Game number 3. It's 2-0 lead for kogeT, so... So spawning on 3 o'clock position as an orange Terran, leading to 0. This is kogeT.
And at the 12 o'clock location in the red brew is TerrOr, who has not won a game yet this series. So in some senses, he has nothing to lose, but he has everything to lose because he has not been able to deal with kogeT. And, you know, it's not like he hasn't had advantages or leads. It's that he hasn't been able to leverage those into anything that could win him the game. I feel like both games 1 and 2, he had opportunities to really do something cool. Game 2 especially, after getting in with so much economic damage, but wasn't able to close it out.
Yeah, and Roadkill is like Aztec. We may see another similar build to the Aztec game. I would like it. It seemed like probably kogeT hadn't faced it very often, but yeah, we'll have to see what TerrOr is going to pull out and what kogeT's going to. I want to point out that Roadkill, we have a lot of 8 Raxes pretty often when I play on here, or even 2 Raxes, but TerrOr, he's playing pretty standard. He's not going to risk his life on a gimmicky build in the middle of the map. But every game so far, we've seen him mine a little bit extra gas, I think. Oh no, the Blue Storm game, he did go for a command center also. But yeah, potentially he could mine extra gas, go for maybe 2 factory or 1 fact 1 starport, or the FD push that we saw. So yeah, curious what he's going to pull out here.
Yep. We haven't seen anything crazy like those 14 CCs that we mentioned, but I think that's probably both players just kind of starting to respect each other. It's been very, very similar openings, although I will say that the gas guys are not existing here for kogeT is a little bit of a divergence.
So
yeah,
So if you are leading 2-0, you can risk and go, for example, for 2-fact build, but you can also risk economically, and I think kogeT, this is what he's doing. This is his time, his way of going for all-in, I think. Because if he will get away with that and he will start mining from this second base, then he should have like very, very comfortable position to go into the longer game.
Yeah, and this build that kogeT's going for is pretty risky versus a player like TerrOr, but because he's up 2-0, I think it's highly unlikely that TerrOr is going to all-in him here. So I really like this greedy build that we're seeing from kogeT as opposed to possibly pulling it out on the first or second game. And on top of it, kogeT got a scout onto that SCV, so he's essentially scouted TerrOr first. Meanwhile, TerrOr is going to see the bad news in about a minute from now that kogeT's already going to be on 2 bases.
Yeah, this is the kind of the perfect storm. The worst possible situation for TerrOr, because not only is his opponent going for a super greedy opener, he's also scouting him last. And this is why it depends on who you talk to, right? Because if you talk to a cheesy player, then they love 4-player maps, because there's always a chance that they can get away with whatever. But if you talk to a player that likes to play standard, they hate 4-player maps, because if you just scout your opponents last and you find out, their gateways are in the middle, it's like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's too late to react.
Yeah, exactly. And now TerrOr's gotten in, and he sees the bad news, and what's his response? It's just going to be a fast command center. And kogeT, he's already ready for that. He's got a bunker going. He knows the likely follow-up is going to be a vulture, and that's not going to deal any damage. Really, he's just got to make sure that this vulture doesn't scoot by, and he'll be good.
Yeah, the 2 Marines come across the map, but obviously they're not going to be able to do anything. There are only 2 Marines in the bunker, but by the time the vulture gets here, there will be more to make it not really possible to run through there. And so I guess for the most part, this is just going to be a pretty safe expo. For kogeT, there's not really any way that TerrOr can punish it, because he's getting an expansion of his own. It's just going to be so much later.
Yeah, and I see a large building at the back of TerrOr's base. That makes me think that it's going to be 1 factory, 1 starport. And I'm not sure how this is going to work out for him, because really the 3 most common openers for Terran when they go gasless expand is they're going to go 1 fact, 1 port themselves. They're either going to go 3 fact, or they're going to go 1 fact, 2 port. And if it's 2 port, well, this is kind of just a build order counter for kogeT. Oh wow, it is 2 port for TerrOr, so pretty committed here.
So, but if he will invest too much into these raids, it will be bad for him, because kogeT is already going for 3 factories. So if he will make some Goliaths, these raids will not have very good usage, I think.
Yeah, but that's true. It is a big commitment where if the race fails, versus Goliath, then it's going to snowball very hard in kogeT's favor. But at the same time, if he can get a couple, maybe 1 or 2 good trades where he can kill a bunch of tanks from kogeT, or even just enough tanks to give him control like we had on Blue Storm, well, then all of a sudden he'll be able to split the map pretty easily, and it will be hard for kogeT to push out. And because kogeT went for expansion first, the first couple tanks will be out faster for TerrOr. Potentially he could set up a siege line, but because we're seeing 3 fact coming out from kogeT, it'd be so risky to set up a tank line.
Well, I mean, there's also the matter of detection, right? As soon as Cloak finishes researching here in just a second, there's actually nothing that detects these cloaked rays. I don't think, do we have an eBay anywhere? Academy? It's not yeah, wow.
He's just starting Academy.
Okay, yeah, just starting it. He is going to get up to a starport of his own, kogeT is, but yeah, he's really unprepared. When the first like 3-5 raids hit, that could be a really big moment for TerrOr to try to come back in this game, because he is starting to really feel this economic disadvantage.
Yeah, I think TerrOr might get a really slick timing here, because the comp set's going to be finished probably pretty soon when he wants to attack. And as a Terran player, you don't really build comp sets to not use them. So he's likely going to... And then if TerrOr swoops in after the scan goes off, well, now we're not going to have any scans anymore. Oh, man. I think
but he will reveal them already.
He's going to show the race now. Yeah. Now this is kind of an anti-timing, because the comp sets are in production now.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's going to know to save that scan. Here comes the cloak, but honestly, I mean, there's not too much value here from this cloak. He's going to have a scan ready. He's going to use it. He might lose a few of these Marines, and yeah, there's nothing to shoot up.
Yeah, there are 3 Goliaths in production, but they just started to produce. He's just started to produce them. It will be a lot of SCV lost.
Yeah, he is killing a lot of SCVs. There's no denying here, but like you said, Wraiths are pretty fragile. You've got to keep him alive. If he has a bad trade, it's going to be a really big loss for him. But the armory should be done by now. Goliath's got to be coming out pretty soon. But this Wraiths have done surprising amounts of damage. We've got like 10 SCV kills. I was not expecting this at all.
He's going to have to run. Ooh, barely loses 1 Wraith behind him, but I don't know how much damage is enough damage, but he did deal a lot of it. The only thing is he didn't kill any tanks. The only attacking units he killed were like a couple of Marines. So that still means that these raids are being annoying, but they're not killing anything that can kill him.
I think that was pretty worth. If we could rewind and look at the supply, kogeT was up 20 supply somehow, and now we're within 10. So that was definitely worth, in my opinion, for TerrOr right there. Yeah, we see the Mind Contain coming out from kogeT, so it's going to be hard for him to break out. And if you just get enough tanks and Goliaths to just sit outside your base on roadkill, it's going to be similar to the Aztec game, where it's just going to be near impossible for TerrOr to ever do anything.
But he's still getting the map control with this way. It's very nice. I really like how he's using them, and he's forcing kogeT to keep some Goliaths at home still and be afraid of moving out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's being active. At the same time, you know, kogeT's being active too. He's spread his vultures all across to the 4, well, I guess every corner of the map that he can find here to just get as much vision as he can. It's also going to help him scout out against raids. They fly over, you know, crazy things like mines or vultures. It's going to help him kind of reveal where those raids have. So right now, they are perched back at home for TerrOr. See what he can do with them, because I don't think round 2 is going to be as effective, obviously.
Yeah, and here we go. Here's kogeT's move out. He's setting up the contain. He's got vision outside of the natural of TerrOr. He knows that it's not like there's anything set up there. And if he can just sit behind these spider mines, he's going to be in an amazing spot. The Wraiths are trying to get pickoffs, but there's just too many Goliaths here. And I'm shocked that TerrOr isn't moving at all. You cannot let a Terran get position on you like this.
Oh no, he's been able to position up towards the high ground. There's minefields out there. Actually could be dangerous minefield if he gets mine dragged. So where's kogeT off to right now? He's perched just shy of crossing that road. Maybe he doesn't want to be roadkill.
Yeah, kogeT kind of just sitting here, I guess, trying to. I don't know why he's sitting here, because he's got a great with those spider mines.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a quick look at TerrOr's tank count. It was at 3. And kogeT already has 5. It's going to be very difficult for him to... And on top of it, like I said, he doesn't have position. I mean, right now he has an opportunity to get out, but I'm getting worried. Okay, there we go. Finally moving out. He's got to move out right now.
Yeah, we got to watch out for these these mines out here. Obviously, they're just picked off pretty quickly. There's plenty of Goliaths and tanks here, but ooh, that was a little bit dangerous there for a second. So TerrOr is trying to poke out and say, okay, well, I'm not going to give you too easy a time pushing up on me, but this is still a great staging area, especially if we see a few dropships come out, maybe elevator right into the back of the base. There's no turret protection here. The only thing he really has to stop that are a few raids, and I think he's down to 3, down to 4, something like that. Not a lot.
But brilliant move from kogeT. He will deny this upgrade from finishing, and this will be huge victory for him if he will kill this armory with this tanks.
Yeah, and I forgot about this with roadkill. That's probably why TerrOr was sitting in his base, because of exactly what we're seeing from kogeT. And he kills +1. That's so important. But TerrOr's making a huge counterattack.
Oh yeah, he's going for very nice flank.
Right now. Yeah, obviously the Goliaths are going to delay long enough for several tank shots to go off. The arc is not that great, but I think it's just barely going to be enough for TerrOr to break through. Oh, I'm so torn about this.
Such
the
a close
Rays
fight.
Staying alive are going to be MVPs.
Yeah, TerrOr just barely going to break through here, but he only has 1 tank left and only 2 Rays, and it's not like he can really reinforce very fast. And kogeT, all of his production's coming in right now. Goliath coming out is going to deal with this quite easily. I think we're probably going to have another maybe split map. I don't know. I think TerrOr's got to kind of all in here, because kogeT's just going to have too much map presence if it tries to go longer than this.
Yeah, and kogeT is mining from 3 bases behind it, so he can reproduce his army much quicker than TerrOr.
Yeah, and
I was just going to say, this position controlling the main of TerrOr with the siege on the low ground also defends that upper right-hand base. So kogeT's just really super solid right now.
Yeah, kogeT really got an ideal spawn here. This is kind of giving me flashbacks to Lost Temple, where if you spawn at 3, you just put tanks on the high ground and it like overlooks the ramp at 12. This is a devastating position, and kogeT, he's got way more factories than TerrOr also. I think TerrOr has 4, and we've probably got 6 or 7 for kogeT. So the production is out of this world for him. And of course, as you pointed out, there's already a 3rd base, and we don't even see a 3rd command center being built from TerrOr. So I think we probably have maybe 1 big build-up from TerrOr. Hope to bust, or else he might be out.
Yeah, I did not expect to see this go 0-3. Obviously, kogeT is a very, very strong player, especially in BSL, where he's had a lot of success before. But I don't know. Here we go. I think kogeT's going to really force his hand here. He's going to find a great opportunity, laying mines all over the tanks. Everything explodes on the high ground. That's going to give kogeT a great opportunity to move up there. But, you know, TerrOr recognizes and reacts to that. So he's going to lay a minefield of his own to protect that high ground. kogeT didn't even try to force his hand there. He killed off the units protecting there, and now is already rotating to the center of their map.
Yeah, he don't have to commit because he's mining from 3 bases, and look at the minimap. His scout, he have a scout everywhere, so he knows that TerrOr is not having any gas base at least.
Yeah, and TerrOr.
Now also keep in mind that +1 disadvantage is huge right now.
Yeah, and kogeT's probably +2 pretty soon, so it's gonna snowball even harder. And all these tanks going down for TerrOr. They're so critical. Rays are coming in, but they're just going to get chewed up by these Goliaths. And now, TerrOr, even though he's got a command center building top left, I don't think he can secure it. I'm looking at this minefield. Okay. I thought kogeT was going to run into a ton of mines.
Yeah, it was close, but 2 tanks get badly hurt, but he saved them all.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously minefields can change quite a bit, but we haven't actually seen them be too impactful so far. Mostly it's just the vultures laying mines next to the tanks to blow them up. That's been effective for kogeT. Oh man, but look at what kogeT's doing. He's triple expanding down to the bottom side of the map, and he can't. Like, what's gonna go stop him? What, is TerrOr gonna get out on the map with vultures to deny those bases? I don't think so.
Yeah, this is why it's so punishing when you don't have map control on Terran versus Terran, because you know, the guy with the positional advantage can just sit tanks. They don't have to even move. They can just like lay a huge turret tank line, meanwhile taking every single base. And by the time you eventually break it, we may see a scenario where, like last game, kogeT had a 7k, 5k bank. And that's so difficult to overcome. But kogeT, he's not even gonna stall it out. He's pushing in for the kill right here. And there's just not much left from TerrOr.
And kogeT is making rides behind it,
just
so...
Oh my god, he is. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, he's got 2 port Rays pumping behind. So even if TerrOr continues to commit to Wraith production, he's just going to have more. And I think that's him finally just saying, look, my economy is bigger and better than yours. You're just going to lose the game. GG.
Whoa.
TerrOr taps out.
O's.
kogeT. Yeah. Did not expect that to be a 3-0, but in the end, I think we really got a chance to see how why kogeT is so good. Especially that third series, able to finally leverage the 14cc to get that faster expansion, and then just always have that. Once again, defending against TerrOr's Rays. TerrOr is really, I don't know if like the ghost of Lita like warged into his body and was like controlling him there, forcing him to only build Raids in every matchup. But he really did try to make them work. Unfortunately, yeah, they don't do too well against turrets or Goliath.
No, that's for sure. And that was very impressive from kogeT because TerrOr's no slouch. TerrOr had a big lead in the first 2 games. Really, the roadkill game was the only game where he did not have a decent sized lead. So to come back in the first 2 games, especially in Terran versus Terran, because, you know, I'm sure everybody here knows, like when you're facing tanks and mines, it can snowball so hard. So it's very difficult to come back, especially in that matchup. So very impressive from kogeT. But yeah, unfortunately, TerrOr getting knocked out here and is not going to make it into the top 16 next season.
Yeah, but good games from him, and thanks for his participation, and I hope he will be there for BSL6. Unfortunately, he will have to go through the qualifiers, but kogeT will be the one who will be seeded in next season of BSL Pro League into round of 16. Also, congratulations to you, Nayoken, because you are in the finals of the BSL Chobo League, and you got a seat in the Pro League round of 24, so huge congratulations.
Thank you, we did it. We made top 24, couldn't do it through the ladder, but we have found an alternative route, so I'm looking forward to playing next season for sure.
That's great.